at least some version of that theory. So I wanted to do that. And when I read your paper, it was really, really good. I'm not just saying that.
Thank
I
you.
thought this was very illuminating. It was things that I'd not thought about before. And I'm really glad that you wrote it. So thank you both for writing it and doing this interview.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel like this
So,
paper, actually writing it for us was really like a profound experience. So it's nice to hear that other people get something out of it.
yes. So let me just first ask, what got you interested in writing on the doctrine of the atonement? There's lots of things. You're both philosophers. You could be writing on lots of things. What was it about the doctrine of the atonement that got you interested in specifically a moral exemplar theory of it?
Yeah. So this paper, actually, the kind of like seed for this paper started when Allie and I were on vacation together. So we're not just co-authors, we're friends. And this was, gosh, like 4 years ago or something.
2019.
It was 2019. I had just done research leave at Notre Dame. And I don't work on the atonement. I'm actually a philosopher of science, and I do stuff with philosophy of religion as well, but like my primary stuff is in philosophy of science. But I had spent a year at Notre Dame listening to the conversations there about atonement. And then Allie and I had met up that summer. It was Allie and I, and my son came with us. And we were, just kind of hanging out, talking about philosophy like you do on vacation. And we were talking about atonement theories. And it's interesting because people tend to not like exemplar accounts or take them very seriously. And the explanation of why is because they don't explain the mechanism of atonement or something like this. And I, as a philosopher of science, found that language to be very strange because I thought, well, one, if atonement is about reconciling a relationship, why would you expect it to be mechanical? I mean, the whole term mechanism or mechanistic explanation comes from the history of science in scenarios where you think that you can find mechanisms. But we don't think about forgiveness or reconciliation as being in a kind of mechanical framework. So that was just a strange way of thinking about it to me. And as we talked about it more, we were kind of like reverse engineering the conversation. Like, well, why do people think there should be a mechanism? Well, they think there's this problem of a debt. Well, why do they think that? And we were sort of like, I don't know, thinking through the problem. And we started getting really interested in what would it look like to try to come up with an atonement account, or what would it mean to think about atonement in a way that is more tied to human experience, or like our own experience of relational ruptures and stuff like that. So that was kind of, it just started out as a conversation. And the more that we talked about it and the further down the road we went, and obviously we're not the first people to try to think about atonement in the context of relationships, but we went on this journey, and that was kind of where we ended up.